Hello, Aki.
Hello, Stevie.
And how are you? You're back in Brooklyn.
Oh, I just hit my microphone. Yes, I'm back in Brooklyn for 48 hours. Then on to another week or so of tour. Yes, I've stopped seeing Strange New Worlds and I've come back to Starfleet headquarters to be reprimanded by an angry, what do you call Admiral?
Is that me?
But
Am I
yes,
the
I'm
angry
back.
admiral?
It's nice. It's good to be home. I've forgotten how everything works, but it's good to be back.
As long as you can still make coffee.
Oh yeah, I just had my first half cup. It's early, listeners. Early for me. It's noon. Stevie's probably been up since dawn. But yeah, I'm on a half cup of coffee and now drinking tea. And welcome back to the show.
Indeed.
A little something we like to call Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast. Oh man, today's stardate is stardate
417618.2.
and we're talking about season 1, episode 7 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, entitled The Serene Squall. And after having watched this, we only have 2 episodes left, right? 3, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I know, right?
I hope they will give us something else. What else is to come? Probably, in fact, what is to come? Lower Decks.
Lower
That's
Decks.
right. That's what I'm thinking.
Probably Lower Decks. I think we did a news thing on this a couple months back. Like, they gave us a sort of rundown. It's like Lower Decks in the summer or something, and then Discovery season 5 in the fall.
And
like that.
Picard after that, probably.
And Picard season 2, probably 2023.
Season 3, darling. Season 3, sweetie.
What did I say? Season 3,
You said
darling.
season
It's season
2.
3, of
You said
course.
season... Yes,
We just
of
watched
course.
season 2, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Borgatti. How could we have forgotten?
Borgatti.
Darling.
Oh.
Borgatti. Okay, but listen, before we get into the episode, we got to do our little Patreon preamble. Stevie, take it away.
Do join us on Patreon. We have lots of fun things. In fact, when Aki finally gets off bloody tour, we'll have our watch party. We might even have a Zoom hang where Aki teaches us to cook, much like Julia Child. Julia Child. So please do join us on patreon.com/setphasers for more behind-the-scenes access to us, early access to episodes, and more. Patreon.com/setphasers.
Yes. And with that out of the way, we have nothing left to do but then to talk about the Serene. I swear the coffee's going to kick in by the end of the rundown. Let's run this thing down. It's time to run it down. Can you run it down for me? What just happened? Can you run it down for me? Oh, yeah. Let's run this thing down. Okay. Doing a couple shoulder exercises, and I'm ready. Okay. We begin on Ankashtan Katil, the Vulcan Criminal Rehabilitation Center, on the 3rd moon of Omicron Lyrae. It's the personal log of T'Pring, Spock's betrothed or fiance. I don't know if they're betrothed. I can't remember. So she's there. She's helping these Vulcan criminals rehabilitate. You know, it's hard work, of course, but she's also worried about her and Spock's long-distance relationship. And she feels that Spock is interested in exploring his human side. And she's been doing some research. So she goes, she's been trying to spice things up, as they say, in their relationship by learning about human sexuality. And they do their little Zoom call. And Spock's like, oh, hey, T'Pring, what's up? And T'Pring's like, hey, I've been reading about human sexuality. I've been reading this book, which seems really masculine. This other book, which is couched in the masculinity of the 20th century. But you should check out this other book. And Spock's like, whoa, I thank you for being interested in that. But, maybe we should read these books together. And also, there's no replacement for seeing each other in person. And then they have a meaningful stare at each other. Later on, Spock is walking down the hall with Nurse Chapel, and Chapel's talking about a Dr. Aspen that they're going to meet. And she's like, oh, Dr. Aspen, they're super smart, they're very sharp. And Spock is sort of not paying attention. And Chapel's like, oh, yeah, super sharp. The razor blades for arms. And Spock's like, She's like, wait, what's going on, Spock? Spock's like, oh, I'm worried about my relationship with T'Pring. He feels that T'Pring might be more interested in exploring his humanity than even he is. And he doesn't know what to do. And Chapel advises him to just be honest. Underscore, parentheses, quotation marks, italicized. Honest. Be honest with T'Pring. Don't try to outthink it. Just tell her the truth. And so Spock's like, okay, sure. They go into a meeting where we meet this Dr. Aspen, who apparently is someone who has been running these aid missions here on the edge of Federation space, helping these colonists move out. And apparently there are some colonists who are pretty desperate, have been stranded in just outside of Federation space, just at the edge, and they've been stranded there for a few months. They've been stranded there for 26 days. They lost power, and Pike's like, you know what? We'll get them up and running in no time. And Aspen's like, oh, I see why Starfleet calls you their Boy Scout. And Pike's like, me? Boy Scout? Are you kidding? And number one's like, actually, it's in his file. But Una reports, okay, well, we can do this thing, but there have been reports of a pirate ship called the Serene Squall carrying out raids in the sector. And Dr. Aspen's organization has lost many ships to those pirates, and they say you should stay away from them. Spock is like, Enterprise they'll be able to take these pirates, and Aspen's like, I don't know, they're very fiercely loyal to each other, and I think you guys should just steer clear of them. And Pike mentions, you used to be a counselor on Starbase 12. Why did you get into this sort of like aid work? And Aspen says that they left because not all who need help are able to ask the Federation to do so. And so they decided to start to run their own aid missions, these sort of independent aid missions here along the border. Just at the time, La'an reports that they are at the location of the colonial ships, and everyone goes to the bridge, but there's nothing there but debris. 2 ships worth of debris. There were supposed to be 3 ships. And they're like, well, maybe all of them are on the other ship. Was it the pirates? They may have taken hostages and taken them over the border into non-Federation space. And Spock reminds Pike, I'm not going to say Spike this episode, I swear. Spock reminds Pike that going into non-Federation space requires Federation approval, which will take 2 days because they're so far from any subspace relays. And Pike's like, send the request. We're going in anyway. We'll leave some subspace buoys behind us as we go, but I'm not going to wait and let these colonists fall to the fate of pirates. Later on, Spock's walking down the corridor, hears some very loud music outside of Dr. Aspen's quarters, because apparently Dr. Aspen has been called to a meeting. And Dr. Aspen is like, oh, hey, I used to hit the clubs back when I was in Starfleet. It's like really intense, like clubby music that they were dancing to or working out to. It's hard to know. They have one of those little towels that people have for nondescript physical activity afterwards. Just have
a neck towel, if you will.
A neck towel. Not a towel enough to towel anything off, just to like clean up
mop one's brow, perhaps.
Yeah, to mop one's brow or maybe clean up a spilled drink. That much you could do with a towel that size. But everyone sees that and this person was just working out. Let's see. So they head to the bridge. And as they're in the turbolift, Aspen's like, I've worked with Vulcans before, and they're like, hey, what about Kolinar? Excising yourself from your emotions. And then they have this like necklace that they're like, oh, I'm having trouble putting this on. And so Spock helps them put it on. And Spock says, Kolinar will offer clarity, and I look forward to doing mine. So they get to the bridge. The Enterprise has picked up a distress signal on a nearby asteroid. Aspen says it's possibly the colonists, but also could be a pirate ploy. The Enterprise proceeds with caution towards the asteroid, and they get caught. They trip some sort of thing, and they get caught in a laser net. Which Spock is like, oh, we can't cross it, and we can't move through it, because it could either shut the ship down or cause a huge explosion and kill us all. And the net is tightening around them. But Aspen suggests that isolating the asteroid with the most electromagnetism coming off of it is probably the one that is like anchoring the thing. And if they destroy that, they can get out of the net. But they find 2 such asteroids, and Pike and Spock debate which to go with. And Pike tells Spock to use his gut, and Spock's like, use my gut, trying to use logic. And Aspen's like, come on, you can do it, Spock. Just choose one. Spock, I did it.
Dope.
Spock picks one. Man,
I need some sort of sound effect for when you fuck up.
Yeah, it's got to be a womp, 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 womp. Anyway, Spock picks one. They fire at it. The net goes down. The Enterprise continues on, baby. But we get a little exterior shot of a tiny ship, which was on the dark side of an asteroid, which begins to follow the Enterprise in secret. Later on, Aspen goes to visit Spock. And says, hey, you know, when the captain told you to follow your gut, you look like you're about to have a heart attack there. And Spock's like, listen, I'm trying to find this balance between my human and Vulcan natures. It's just not natural for me to, like, go with my gut. I don't go with intuition. I like to work things out with logic. And Aspen's like, you know, you maybe don't need to try and balance your human and Vulcan natures, that maybe you're not one and the other, or one or the other. Maybe you're neither. And also, as they leave, they say, hey, don't worry about the asteroid data. If it had been the Serene Squall, we'd all be dead. And then they leave. Meanwhile, Ortega's flying manual through this asteroid belt out here in non-Federation space. And the captain's like, hey, you can take a break if you want. And Ortega's like, oh no, it's like having a deep conversation with the ship, and I dig it. They find a ship ahead of them. It looks like the colonial ship. Spock detects 200 life signs in the cargo hold and 30 throughout the ship. Aspen says that's about the number of all the colonists altogether. And number one suggests that they could be holding the colonists hostage, and the other 30 may be a landing party from the Serene Squall. The Enterprise still undetected, so Pike makes an away team. It's him, La'an, a couple others. And number one is concerned about his actions, but he's like, hey, I'm a Boy Scout. And they beam aboard the ship to find 0 colonists. No colonists there. At the same time, Nurse Chapel on the Enterprise is walking down the hall, hears intruders, people screaming, people running, and she runs for a Jeffries tube. I think, are these Jeffries tubes yet? I don't know. A hole in the wall with a ladder in it. And I got lost in my notes because of the... Okay, yes. So, and then the Enterprise is unable to beam back the away team. And then pirates attack the bridge, and Una shuts down the bridge controls, and the pirates attack, and there's a pew, 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 fire. And then they hit Una and Ortegas, and Spock is there with Dr. Aspen, and he's able to take out a few to save Dr. Aspen, but then Dr. Aspen just, no, Spock, pushes him out of the way. He gets shot in the back, trying to protect Spock, and they fall into the turbolift, kabloom, and then another one is coming, and they're shooting, pew, 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 and Spock's like, deck 4, and the doors close, just in time for them to get out of there. Meanwhile, on the other ship, the away team is surrounded by a bunch of other pirates. And my guess was, and I guess I was right eventually, but I wrote Orion ? Captain walks up and welcomes Pike to the Serene Squall. Oh yeah. Turnabout is fair play. So Spock and Aspen on the 4th level. Aspen is injured. Spock trying to get Aspen to sickbay. They hear some noises. They duck behind a bulkhead. They see the pirates with the bridge crew. Spock makes eye contact with number one, and she kind of nods him off like, no, don't get caught. So he and Aspen enter a Jeffries tube to find a different way to get to sickbay. Meanwhile, on the Serene Squall, Pike is being, I almost said it again, Pike is being beaten up for the codes to his ship. And the captain of that works. Yeah, that's perfect. And Pike is like, oh, you're gonna punch me, I'm not gonna give you information. But the captain's eating some green slop out of a bowl, and Pike's like, ugh, you guys eat that? That's disgusting. And they're like, give us the codes. And then Pike's he looks around, and the captain's like, everyone loves this food. It's an Orion specialty. But he sees in the eyes of the other pirates that they don't particularly like the green gruel. And so he says, hey, if you give my crew food and water, as they need, then I'll cook for you guys. And the captain is about to reject. He grabs Pike by the neck. Give us our codes. But then one of his crew suggests, hey, we're far from Federation space. We have plenty of time. And, the crew could use a good meal. So... meanwhile on the Enterprise, Chapel, running alone, finds an interface, attempts to send an SOS, is locked out because Una locked everyone out of the systems. She's discovered by 2 pirates. She surrenders, saying she has no weapons, but then when one approaches to use the hypospray to knock him out, and the other one knocks the weapon out of his hand, and they struggle on the floor for it, but she manages to get him down and get the hypospray, and knock him out. And then hearing another noise, Chapel runs off. So meanwhile, on the Serene Squall, Pike has made food for the pirates. And the pirate captain says, it's edible, but it looks like the pirates are really digging it and liking it. And he starts to press Pike for the codes. And Pike is like, hey, before I give you the codes, I just wonder why you'd be so foolish as to take the Federation flagship. The Federation is going to be coming after us, baby. And all your buyers are not going to want that heat. So how are you going to sell the ship? And then the Orion captain's like, hey, we have more than the ship. These Klingons might pay dearly for Federation slaves. Ha ha. And Pike says, listen, a guy like you is unlikely to make it out of an encounter with with the Klingons. I think that would be foolish. And the captain leans into Pike and says, I know what I'm doing. You better give me those clothes. And he stalks off. And then Pike smiles and shakes his head and keeps stirring his pot of what I'm going to guess is chili. Spock, meanwhile, and Aspen get to the sickbay. Spock gives Aspen a hypospray shot. Says you're lucky that gun was set to stun. Aspen's like, okay, we got to abandon ship. They're like, look, you don't want to tangle with these pirates. They're crazy. And tells a story about how their husband, the whole thing with why they know about Vulcans is that their husband was a Vulcan, was part of an aid ship that tried to fight the pirates and lost. And they wish that their husband had exercised more fear than logic that day. But Spock does not truck with that. He goes into a room, gets some phasers, gives one to Dr. Aspen and says, we're going to go to engineering, bypass the lockdown, and send a distress call. Follow me. Meanwhile, Pike on the Serene Squall is put into a cell with the rest of his command staff. And he looks pretty beaten up because he's been beaten up and they're worried about him, but he gets scanned by Mbenga and it seems like he's fine. And he says, hey, all is well. I've convinced the captain to try and sell us to the Klingons. And everyone's like, what, are you crazy? But then Una says, oh no, Chris, not Alpha Braga 4. And Pike's like, oh yeah, Alpha Braga 4. And when the other bridge crew are like, what does that mean? Pike says, we're going to start a mutiny. Oh yeah. Meanwhile, Spike. Meanwhile, Spock. Okay, I heard you. Spock and Aspen
just wanted to make sure.
Make it to engineering, where they find Nurse Chapel. And Spock overrides the lockout. And he seals security, engineering. And he scans for the Serene Squall. And he asks Aspen to help. And then as he's working, all the systems get transferred back to the bridge. And the doors to engineering open up. And then when he turns to Aspen to say, what's going on? Aspen goes, ha ha ha, I'm not Dr. Aspen, you idiot. I'm Captain Angel of the Serene Squall. And they have both phasers trained on them. Yeah, come on. So they take Spock and Chapel to the bridge that the pirates have on lockdown. They test out the weapons. They're like, woo, we stole the ship, baby. They do what pirates do, kind of like dance and laugh and scream and have a good time. If it was a musical, they would have broken it down to a song that's like about how pirate life is so wonderful. And then Angel admits, the Captain Angel, no longer Dr. Aspen, admits the Enterprise was not the goal. 'Twas Spock, 'twas the goal. Just needs him to keep being him. And we flash to Pring, who gets a transmission from the Enterprise. Guess what? It's Captain Angel. And they're using Spock as bait, as a captive, because the Katangle and Kishtan Katil Center, I had to go all the way back to find that, has a prisoner in it, quote unquote, that named Zavarius, that Captain Angel would like to trade for Spock's life. Now, T'Pring is like, listen, I would never do that. It's illogical. My position would be revoked. I would be in prison and it would bring shame to my family. But Angel's like, you're going to do it anyway because your one true love is Spock and you'll do it. And I know Vulcans feel emotions. They just try not to. And so Angel transmits codes for a rendezvous just outside of Federation space and tells T'Pring, hey, you involve the Federation in this, and you'll never see your pretty boy again. And cuts off the communication. And Spock redoubles. He says, Vulcans are not swayed by emotion. And that's when Captain Angel says, oh, no? Well, I've been using emotion to sway you all day. Oh, these colonists that don't actually exist. And oh, my husband was killed by pirates. All the stories. But it's all garbage because it was just to manipulate them because Dr. Angel. Captain Aspen, Captain Lieutenant Colonel Angel, because Captain Angel is actually trying to get this prisoner Zavarius, who is their one true love. And when Chapel questions the plan, Angel says, oh, I can tell from the look in your eyes that love is the only thing worth fighting for in this cold, dark vacuum. It makes life worth living. And that's why T'Pring is definitely coming. Meanwhile, on the pirate ship, Pike and Una, Mbenga, and Ortegas stage a little play for that same crew person who was the one who talked down the Orion captain before and said everyone should eat. And they do this whole thing. It's like, the captain's going to work with Klingons. He doesn't know anything about Klingons. He's going to get everybody here killed. And they're like kind of planting the seed. And they can see that it is working. They're like, hey, and if you need help overthrowing the captain to keep you guys safe, we're willing to help. And then as that crew person leaves, Pike says to Una, Alpha Braga 4 works every time. T'Pring actually shows up with these coordinates. And Captain Angel is anxious to do the trade. Spock believes, after hearing some more of what Angel has said about this prisoner Zavarius, thinks that he knows who this prisoner is. And he decides to make a move, telling T'Pring not to trade, to destroy the Enterprise instead, not to get these pirates get the ship. But then Angel uses a phaser, pew, to stun Spock and gives T'Pring 10 minutes to comply, or the next time they will set the phaser to kill. Spock awakes to find T'Pring preparing for the trade. He looks up, he tells Chapel, he's like, I apologize for any liberties I might take, but you must follow my lead. He then makes a ploy that he and Chapel are having an affair, and Angel is incredulous. Angel is incredulous. Now we do remember that perhaps Chapel has some feelings for Spock that have been evinced since perhaps episode 1. But certainly the last time there were hijinks. And Angel is incredulous, and T'Pring is sort of incredulous. They're like, come on, please. It's ridiculous. So, in order to prove it, Spock and Chapel, they kissy-kissy. 3 kisses. Because it's an intense...
I love it.
It's an intense snog that goes on. What?
Just... kissy and snog.
Listen, this is a family show.
Certainly is.
This is literally their kissing, but it's steamy. I wrote in my notes, definitely some real disco heat on them lips. These are the things I write to myself. T'Pring and Spock therefore sever their relationship. T'Pring breaks comms. Angel orders the crew, therefore, to destroy T'Pring's ship, but they find that they're locked out of weapons and phasers, and the shields are down. And then another ship warps in, and guess what? It's the Serene Squall. And Pike gets up on the screen, and he says, get the hell out of my chair. And he orders Ortega to gently disable the thrusters. They have taken over the bridge of the Serene Squall. On Enterprise, Spock turns to Angel and says it would be logical to surrender. But Angel has no intention of surrendering, says there's more to life than logic, and pulls the necklace out from the one from before, is what I wrote. Pulls out the necklace from before. Mentions that Zavarius spoke of Spock quite a bit, and that actually Captain Angel was very excited to meet him in real life. Tells him still not to be caught up in whether he is human or Vulcan, that it is not what he is, but rather who he is. And then, using the necklace, beams just themselves off the bridge into that trailing ship that we saw before, and immediately goes to warp, leaving the rest of the pirates stranded on the ship. Spock shows up in the chair, opens up a communication with the Serene Squall, reveals that the pirates have been surrendered. Pike et al. Reveal that they may have taken over the bridge somewhat prematurely, and that the pirate ship is in a state of chaos as the mutiny is still happening, and could Spock maybe transport them out as soon as possible. And the little end here, Pike's log, he knows that the Starfleet has the Serene Squall and the crew of the Serene Squall in custody. He does a terrible pirate impression. Number 1 tells him to cut it out. Spock is meditating. A door opens. T'Pring enters, having come to visit. Spock apologizes for the ruse. T'Pring's like, I always knew. You could never have feelings for Nurse Chapel. And then he's like, oh, yeah. You know me so well. And then T'Pring, they do a little kissy-kissy. And then, looking deep into each other's eyes, T'Pring suggests that they perform a, quote, rebonding ritual. And then the camera pans away from them as they kiss, and my notes say, ahem. Final scene, Spock goes to sickbay to speak to Chapel. He's thanking her for her help on the bridge. Thought that because Chapel is human, maybe you need to discuss your feelings. Okay, Spock. And Chapel's like, listen, I know you're honest. You're Vulcan. You're a good friend. And you wouldn't pursue another woman while you're ostensibly wifed up with T'Pring. And he's like, oh, yes, you know me well. Chapel asks about the prisoner. Says, you said something on the bridge about how you must know who the prisoner is based on what Captain Angel was saying. And Spock says, oh, yes. It is someone I have been told to avoid at all costs. It is the son that Ambassador Sarek had out of wedlock. And Chapel's like, isn't Ambassador Sarek your dad? And he's like, that's right. He had a son before me, full Vulcan, but rejects logic. He's part of the Vatash Katur. Spock believes that Zavarius is an assumed name for none other than Spock's half-brother, Sybok.
Oh, is that a dun-dun-dun moment?
I figured. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got to go pretty deep into the TOS movies to know who Sybok is, but they do a nice little scene there at the end where some people are on that rehabilitation center, and you see a bearded, unkempt Vulcan look over their shoulder in shadow, but you don't see their face. Who is Sybok? Here endeth episode 7, season 1, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, entitled "The Serene Squall." And Serene and Squall lore-ish. Twas. Let's chat about that.
I say, darling, let's do a quick chat about that.
Yes, let's do. Yes, let's do.
Let's do. What would you like to chat about?
Oh, well. I mean, listen, it's not the A plot line, but I mean, Spock has perhaps inadvertently realized that he might have feelings for Nurse Chapel. Truly a rom-com moment where like two friends kiss and they realize, oh shit.
Whoops.
We had to do it to save the ship, but now, whoa, what a kiss that was. And now Spock's like, a Vulcan, a human, am I exploring these sides? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think Spock's gonna do? Obviously he's still getting it on with.
I think T'Pring's gonna dump him. I think he won't have to be the asshole who makes a decision. I feel like T'Pring will dump him. I don't know why yet, but I see that happening.
I don't remember what, T'Pring shows up in the original series, but I can't remember in what capacity. But anyway, as Spock's wife, is that true? Anyway, yeah. I mean, and also Nurse Chapel's from the original series, so it's a little complicated where they're trying to drive this, because obviously all that happens, later when Kirk is in charge. Dr. Aspen, Captain Angel, a charismatic villain. Huzzah.
Indeed. Very charismatic. A little, I mean, it was very fun. I thought there were moments where it was ridiculously over the top.
Mm-hmm.
It was just verging on over the top. And I was like, I can't decide whether I like it or not.
Well, I kind of dug it as an introduction, because you get this character, you're like, wow, there's a lot going on with this captain here. Like I guess I knew from like the scene where Aspen comes to check on Spock, I was like, something's not right with this doctor. Like they kept putting them in like really hip, all black, and they have that tattoo over their eye. They just look so like cool fucking pirate captain.
Fair.
The whole time. I was like, are they the captain of this shit? I don't know. But I like that they got away and that there might be, further adventures with Angel, and they've connected them with Sybok, which is, kind of interesting. Sybok is a terrifying character.
Yeah, there's got to be an overarching plot line here. To introduce Spock's half-brother. Very soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
He's my half-brother. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. And then, you just see a Vulcan look over their shoulder with a beard, maybe an eye patch. Is it played by Ethan Peck too? Yes,
I have no idea. We didn't see the face, did we?
Or we saw the. No, we didn't see the face.
Just caught.
It would just be very funny if they. That would be almost over. That would be way over the top. But I do feel like Dr. Angel is sort of like a Harry Mudd type, but not as fun-loving, like a little bit more sinister.
I do want to say, on a personal note, I was delighted to see another non-binary character in the Trek verse, and outside of Discovery, because I feel like Discovery gets a really bad rap for being like woke, where Strange New Worlds isn't getting that reputation, and it's just cool, and so to sort of see it outside and in more of the mainstream Trek, if you like,
right?
I think that's cool and important.
Oh yeah, critical. Yeah, I guess I glossed over that because we have a cool pirate captain, but also representation is important as well.
Totes.
Obviously, representation is important, but can we talk about how badass this Captain Angel? First of all, I was also wondering, like, what is their captain name going to be? And I at first was like, ugh, Angel, I mean, but then I was like...
So ironic. It's an oxymoron, isn't it?
Yes, it's great. Captain Angel, the pirate. Anyway, I hope that they really mess up tons of stuff for Enterprise. And I was realizing, I don't know if this, are you going to do Are you doing Easter eggs?
No.
Okay.
I was at a wedding and I didn't have time.
Well, then we can talk about, because I didn't want to take it away from Easter egg, but obviously Sybok is from Star Trek, the original series movie 5, which I think is called...
Yes.
No, that's
Final
not
Frontier.
Point of No Return.
Final Frontier.
Final
I just said.
Frontier.
Like Final Frontier.
All right.
Final Frontier. Final
It's called
Frontier.
Final Frontier. I have trouble after the Voyage Home with the names. There's Final Frontier, and the other one is like the Hamlet quote. A country from whose born no traveler return. It doesn't matter. The point is, 5, we meet Sybok. And so nobody knows about Sybok on the modern Enterprise. Like the Kirk's Enterprise. So I'm wondering if they can now introduce, and all we know about Sybok, as you said, off mic. I've always wanted to say that on a podcast. When we were talking off mic, we mentioned that I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you. I love it when my life is easy after to edit. It's great.
Yes. Well, I let you know that I was sneezing.
You did.
So you'll hear it. I didn't just do it in the middle of a word like that time I burped. I think they could do a whole plot with Sybok getting out and, wreaking all kinds of havoc in future seasons and then getting banished from the planet. And it would all make sense that no one on the new Enterprise knew about Sybok, So I think we can actually look forward to maybe seeing Sybok in action here.
Yeah. I wonder whether he's sort of going to be the Q, if you like. Not in the sort of sense of Q, but just in the, boomerang type way that we encounter Q. Or in fact, lore. That's what I was thinking of. It's not Q, it's
more
lore.
Like lore.
More like lore.
I think they're going to make Sybok more like lore. So like once every season, they get caught up in something goes totally wrong. They're like, what's all this? And then right before the credits, Sybok walks in clapping. Half brother. That's how I'd write it. So that's cool.
I see. I don't see why at some point you can't be a writer for Trek.
I think because they'd be like, all of this is over the top. Who do you think you are?
I mean, really, after this episode with a half brother and a dual identity pirate captain.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. And but I feel like I would just have a lot of like, if you thought that Captain Angel was written slightly over the top, if I was writing Captain Angel, they would have been like as wordy as Picard and as capricious as Q and as like attitudey as Lore.
There's part of me that wonders whether you could actually get through it because you'd get so excited.
Yeah, it would take a long time for me to write that.
Right.
It would probably be a pretty experimental 2-part episode that's mostly a monologue by Angel stuck in a pod, like an escape pod in space, being like, it all went wrong, and a lot of like flashbacks, like 36 hours earlier, Wow. I have a lot of writing to do. Fanfic. Okay. Also, does this mean that we have to watch Star Trek 5, which means, unfortunately, that we have to watch Star Trek 3 and 4, which you have not seen yet. 4 is wonderful. 3, woof. Woofta oofta.
I haven't seen... we said we would watch Star Trek the Motion Picture with the director's commentary, which we haven't done yet.
But we did watch the original TOS, right? Or did we not? Have we only watched... Oh, wow. Because I told you it was boring? Is it my fault that we didn't watch the...
Yes.
I feel bad about that. I shouldn't have done that. But it is boring. So we went straight to
Wrath
of Khan. That's on me.
We've not seen any others.
All right.
We've not watched any others as part of our parties. We could do that. We have... we have a 100th episode coming up. I think it might be... Ooh,
oh, no.
soon.
It might be like this one. We should
the next one?
keep being mindful. Well, we still have 3 episodes of Whatchamacallit left.
All right. Well, we'll celebrate the 100th after the finale. How's that?
We'll celebrate the 100th episode on Independence
On the
Day.
101st episode.
On the 100 and whatever. When I'm back home. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what we'll do. But that could be cool. We could watch TOS, the original. Star Trek, the motion picture.
Star Trek, the motion picture.
The motion picture from 1979. From 1979, Master Bruce. Yep. that got into Michael Caine land. Star Trek, the motion picture masterpiece. But no, you are only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. I'm Michael Caine.
I'm Michael Caine. I have this other thing about Michael Caine, and this is very important to our Star Trek show, is that the way you say Michael Caine in his accent is you say my cocaine.
Michael Caine. I'm Michael Caine. I'm
Michael Caine. Get your hands off my cocaine.
Get your hands off my cocaine.
Get your hands off my cocaine, Master Bruce. Why do we fall, Master Bruce? What a stupid thing for us to talk about. Do I have anything else left in chat here? I thought it was cute that Pike was able to do that mutiny with the crew and their little acting thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really fun hijinks in the sort of like B plot line of them trying to get off the Serene Squall. It was very fun.
Right. I don't have any news other than some fun facts. Fun facts.
Fun facts. Let's do it.
Ready? Do we have to do it together?
Yeah.
Fun facts. That's not bad. Let's see if that
it's
works.
hard with lag, but we did all right.
Yeah. Terry Metalis has been recently interviewed because he's quite the prolific tweeter. You would probably quite like him.
Oh.
Yes. So he was on an was interviewed on Inglorious Trexperts, a podcast, if you will, with people not that aren't us. And he had some comments about Picard season 3 as he's in post production, saying that it's very much the passing of the torch from one generation to the next. So in the same way that they did in TNG when Bones was walking around the Enterprise with Data and Encounter at Farpoint. And when Spock came on in Unification and had that arc with Picard. So I think he feels really good about that. And I know that he then talks about some of the other characters, and he felt that Nemesis wasn't the best send-off. Oh, sorry, he said this. Yeah, he thought Star Trek 6 was a good send-off, but it was for the original crew, but it wasn't. For TNG, he didn't really feel that they had that with Nemesis. And he wanted to make sure that Gates McFadden had a really strong story in Picard 3. Felt she was a really fascinating character, lets her son go off into the universe. And LeVar, Mr. Geordi LaForge, so when he pitched Geordi the story that he had in mind, LeVar got so emotional that he cried. So he thought, ooh, this is one to include. And, of course, our favourite Jonathan Frakes. There's a lot of Riker, I believe, in Picard Season 3. So it's very interesting. And I'm wondering to whom the mantle shall be passed. If it is going to be a passing of the torch, I assume Raffi and 7, because we've lost a shit ton of characters at the end of season 2.
Yeah, we know that Soji's not coming back. And that Rios is dead in the past.
Borgatti is no longer Doctor.
Yeah. It would be very confusing to add her to canon. Because she's a half Borg, half Dr. Girardi. Yeah, I think it would be... But it would be the adventures of Raffi and 7.
I guess so, yeah.
And the Fenris Rangers.
Well, yeah, that sounds really cool.
Oh, and Elnor. Wait, Elnor's not coming back?
Elnor, yeah. Elnor came back. He lived.
Okay. All right.
Hugh gave him
but
back.
I mean, is he coming back?
Oh, no, he's not coming back. He's not coming back.
I think he's done, yeah. So they're focusing. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. There's all kinds of secrets, people. Is that the only fun fact?
Yeah, that was it. Sorry.
I had a great time.
Quotable moments.
Fun. Quotable moments, yes.
Quotable moments.
Oh, I'll start. To Pring saying, I've been attempting to introduce experimentation into our relationship in an effort to, as humans are apparently fond of saying, spice things up.
Indeed. Good one. I didn't write any down. No, I don't. I didn't.
Oh.
I was stressing to watch it, and then I went to the sodding wedding, so I have nothing.
You went to the sodding. Look at you saying sodding.
My cocaine.
Goodness. My cocaine. Get you went to the sodding wedding. Great. Well, I loved Nurse Chapel saying to Spock, don't be smarter than the truth. Which I think is just a great... I would wear a shirt that says that, but it would seem like I was trying to be smarter than the truth. You can't... Anyway, And I guess as my I also enjoyed T'Pring saying on Kishtan Klingon is so easy for me. Vulcan so difficult. On Kishtan Katil is not a prison. It's a rehabilitation center. And Angel says, whatever, Paktar. I would wear that shirt any day. Whatever, Paktar. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm easily entertained.
Yes, you are.
Oh, and then there's this moment with Chapel and Spock where Chapel says, hey, pro tip, pay better attention to me when I'm talking because, and Spock finishes, you are very charming and I'm completely missing it. And Chapel says, progress, you're learning. Anyway, those were some nice quotes. Cute. Shall we get into next time?
Let's do.
Next time on Set Phasers.
Hey, next time on Set Phasers, we'll be talking about episode 8 of season 1, episode 8 of 10, the antepenultimate episode of season 1 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, entitled
You need the title, don't you?
The Elysian Kingdom. I looked it up this time.
Good job. Good job. So proud.
Thank you.
Proud.
Thank you. Well, I had an extra 5 minutes. The Elysian Kingdom. Who knows what it will be about, but we will be here to cover it. Speaking of, if you've enjoyed the program, and I'm sure that you have as much as we have done, then you can find our back programs wherever you get your podcasts, wherever that might be. We have covered all the modern Star Trek to date, including 4 seasons of... 4 seasons? Yes, 4 seasons of Discovery, 2 seasons of Picard, 2 seasons of Lower Decks, and now almost a complete season of Strange New Worlds, and with no signs of stopping either. So please do find us wherever you get your podcasts, and hey, if you're on Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave a review.
Why not? Do rate and subscribe. Do, please, if you enjoyed our podcast. And of course, join our Patreon, patreon.com/setphasers, where you could buy us coffee and we will hang out with you and have that coffee via Zoom hangs and such forth. Yes, setphasers.com / that's not it. Patreon.com /setphasers.
That's it.
And
yes. Well, we also have Instagram and Facebook, don't we? Do we've got Set Phasers podcast on Instagram and Set Phasers. It's all Stevie, in case you're wondering. Meme game strong.
Thank you so much. At Set Phasers and at Set Phasers podcast, and that is all from us here. I didn't do my Easter egg, so I'm desperate to do my correspondent. That's all from us here. The Set Phasers start where? Who are we? Well, that's all from us here at Set Phasers. It's back to you at home and enjoy your week. That sounded a bit weird. I'm Stevie Mans.
Oh boy, that almost made me forget what I was going to say. And I'm Spock's half brother, Cybok, and this has been Set Phasers, a highly illogical Star Trek podcast.
Podcast, program, computer.
I wanted to say program because I was doing a British accent. Oh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It was already in progress. It was already happening.
I think yeah. Wow. What a morning.